Good evening and welcome to another episode of Apolitically Incorrect Guyana. Another episode after a long time. My apologies to everyone out there for the show not being aired on our regular intervals every Friday, but we had a little technical difficulties with the studio, and then last week we were supposed to come on, but we were only getting live on YouTube, and then this week I'm just really happy to be here. I just landed. Okay, I was out of the country for a few days. I just got back, and that's why we're late. So my apologies to everyone. I came straight from the airport, straight to the studio. That's why I don't look like a decent human being. And Timothy Jonas was supposed to be here with me this evening for our welcome back show, but he came down, another bit of bad luck. He came down with the flu. So I hope he's better by next week and we can get our program back to regular scheduled content the way we love it, especially with all that's going on in Guyana. A lot has been happening lately. I think we've been gone for a few weeks, and I'm kind of torn in emotions here because I'm really happy to be back in Guyana and really not happy with how the country is descending into this elections year political nightmare. So my apologies for the kind of haphazard, emotional response to this, or at least my scattered mind. I just got back from Brazil. I just spent a quick trip, and it was fantastic, as it always is. And Brazil is a country right next door to us that we need to be working so much more closely with. But I think the first topic that needs to be discussed here, which is probably the most important, at least to me as a Guyanese here, the Venezuela, I know it should be the Venezuela conflict, but the Venezuela conflict has been going on since I was a child, since, as many years back as we can remember. Granted, social media and the different news outlets has kind of turned it into something else now. I know that Venezuela themselves are doing a lot more as we are looking at it. But as you can tell from the country itself, they've always viewed Essequibo the way they do. The court case, as everybody knows, has been ongoing for many years now. And that in itself signifies to everyone that this matter is ongoing. So why I say that is, I think we have something pressing at the moment, which is us stepping heavily now. I know we said this multiple times already, but we're stepping very heavily and very unfortunately into an elections year. And we're in the middle of campaign season ramping up. It starts around 6 months before elections. So we are pretty close to that, seeing that elections should be November. And I think it's important that I make it clear that the first thing we have to do as a country is not allow ourselves to let our emotions get the best of us. All right? I say that with two sides of the coin. One being, and I think this is the first one, is my empathetic side. I know that people are desperate in this country. Okay, you can preach progress to me. You can preach One Guyana to me. You can preach, the rigors to me. You can preach anything you want to me. I've been doing this long enough now that I have a fairly good understanding, not the best, but I have a fairly good understanding of what the political landscape is like in Guyana. And what I think a lot of us haven't realized yet is that the longer we stay divided, the longer we are going to stay in this state of tiredness, of division, of not reaching our potential. Because the political strategy for the two main parties, PPP and PNC, is the same and has always been the same. I preached this before, that the laws of this country, the constitution of this country is designed for a two-party system. What that does is it creates a divide and conquer mentality between the two parties. If we use economics, if we use class, if we use racism to separate the people, then we will always be in control. The politicians will always be in control, because what they successfully do is they pit the two groups, the two, large races, the economic classes against each other. They create resentment, they create anger, and most importantly, they create fear. And what that is creating now, not now, that's wrong. I was just reading some quotes from Walter Rodney not long ago, and it's amazing that history is repeating itself, is where we're ending up in a state where we're watching politicians rule over this country like gods. We're watching them drive fear into the nation. We're watching them attack citizens. Let me say that again. We are watching politicians that work for the people attack the people. Okay? That is the worst situation we can be in. That is the worst state of affairs. Okay? Because what they're doing there is they're driving fear into everyone. All right? And now they're forcing you to choose a team. You're either on my team or you're on their team. And if you're not on my team, then I am going to do everything I can to hurt you. We are all citizens of Guyana. And we all have to work together, whether elections year or not, in order for this country to move forward. And it's always been the plague of this country. The politicians and the politics has always been the plague of this country. All right? It's the reason we've watched countries that have gotten independence at the same time as us move so much further ahead than us. And we're the richest country in this side of the world. We always have been. Even before oil. We're supposed to be the breadbasket of the Caribbean. Okay? Gold, sugar, bauxite, diamonds, timber, sand. I mean, you name it. Our fisheries, our everything, rice, everything, you name it. All our agriculture. How much more? How much do you guys believe that we are lacking that has left us in the state that we're in? Because the politicians have led you to believe we're broke, yet they continue to preach that each party is stealing. So which one is it? When you're in power, we're broke. When you're out of power, they steal in all the money. That's all it is. And people have to get that through their head. This is a cycle that they just keep creating. Now, for example, it's funny because I said this to the PPP before they went into power. I said there is such thing as overselling your position. And they did this because they want to build hope in people, because they want people to feel confident in them. And rightfully so. I don't have a problem with a government needing and creating positive reinforcement in society and building confidence in themselves, or the people to have confidence in the party. I have no problem with that. But it can't just be a facade. It can't just be you saying we are the fastest growing economy in the world. You can't just say we have $3 billion sitting in our natural resource fund, and yet the people are sitting here getting $41,000 in pension. That the people are sitting here paying, 200% duty on vehicles. Or the people are continuously getting blackout. The hospitals are not, performing well, as I'm going to bring that up in a few with the firemen recently, or the fact that our education is now what I think our pass rate for mathematics is 30%, 40% for English. in common entrance. This is crazy. Security. I just heard there was a string of break-ins in Success last night in that area of break and enters, like stick up the families. And I haven't seen it on the news, oddly enough. So what I'm getting at here is you can't just preach we're rich, build this hope, but then at the same time, the people are not feeling it. All right? And the people need to start, all I can do is sit here and speak to you guys, because this is the way I can speak to as many of you as I possibly can at once. All right? Is that you have to start seeing through this at some point. And you have to start seeing that the politics is the problem here. They're playing games with everyone. All right? Your life might be good. The middle class and up, they like to preach that everything is great because they're the ones that are making money. But money isn't everything, because those same people, when you look at them and say, okay, great, now that you're making money, what's the plan? They immediately look at you and say, well, I'm thinking about moving out to Guyana. Or I'm getting my children out to go to school outside of Guyana. So I don't understand. You're pretending to be this patriotic person. You're screaming progress just to benefit yourself. Too bad for everyone else. All of a sudden, we just don't care about our neighbors. We don't care about, our children's friends. It comes from a place of empathy now, that we're in elections year now, and I'm watching, and all of you are. I know you are. You're watching how this country and the countryside is getting, having all the issues that they're having. I see the Mohammed's going into villages and people pushing one another and getting arrested already. I mean, like, arrested? People to the point where people are getting arrested? That's for politics? And the parties, the PPP and the PNC, because the PNC ain't even kick up yet. And I'm telling you right now, they are no better. Okay? They're going to start with their hooliganism just now as well. All right? And causing trouble where they want to now as well. It's who these parties are. Create as much chaos in the country as possible so nobody can look at the wrongs that they are doing. It's a problem. And I know a lot of people out there are uneducated and underexposed and desperate with their hand out, so willing to do anything to get some favor, to get an opportunity to survive. But if we're really progressing, then how are we still there? I was just having a conversation, we're talking about society and progress, and I'm like, you can't say there's progress without society. And the people I was talking to said, those days of politics and division and trouble around elections time are things of the past. That was when PNC was in power and blah, blah, blah. I had to remind them that 2 people died at the last election. Okay? 2 people were shot because during protests it got out of hand. Do we not understand or remember any of this? I'm not trying, I feel like it might appear that I am trying to drive fear, but I'm trying to tell everybody to stop taking the politics that seriously. They've created a situation that you have to depend on them. I understand that. But that's the problem. And you yourself have to realize that. If you feel like you have to depend on a political party to survive, then something is wrong. Something is very wrong with that. You have to see that. The politics, the politicians work for us. They work for you. How could you feel like you need to depend on the people that work for you? They're supposed to be making your life better. And they keep promising you they will, but yet you still feel a desperation. So if you're still feeling desperate, it means your life is not getting better. And they're just keeping you right there with your hand out, feeling like, oh, if I don't commit here, if I don't show my loyalty, then my fealty, then I'm going to be left for dead. You're already poor and desperate. What are we waiting for? I don't understand. But you are convinced, and this is always the argument. Oh, God, I'm tired of it. Every time, being somebody that is not PNC, obviously, and not PPP, obviously, every time I bring up fault with one side or the next, they look at me and they say, but the other side doing the. Let me just give 2 examples. I sat down last week and I was speaking to some people from Newsroom. And I said, you guys are so biased. You need to stop with this. Show me one article that you have put out in the last 3 years or even before that show the wrong that the PPP have done. And we all know they've done a lot of wrong. All right? We know they're not perfect. So show me one thing where you've highlighted an issue that the PPP has created. They can't show it to me. You know what their response is? Yes, but Gordon Mosley is biased. How is that the conversation? I agree. I agree with you. Okay, so yes, now we're on the same page. They are biased. You are biased. So you're now admitting that you're biased. And then this blank look just comes over their face and they can't argue anymore because they're accustomed to some people saying the PPP is better than PNC. No, they're not. They're just as bad. They're equally as bad. So how do you argue now? Now that I'm going to point out all the wrong that they're doing, you're going to point out all the wrong what APNU is doing. I agree, APNU wrong, but that doesn't make you right. It doesn't make you any better. So I don't understand. And another one of the examples was I draw a blank. Sorry, I'll remember it in a few minutes. It's just over and over with pointing. Sorry, I remember the One Guyana slogan. That was the other conversation I was having. So I sat down there and they're like, yes, the One Guyana slogan is fine. We should be able to use it. I'm like, that's weird because you guys had really big problems with painting State House in green, painting Arthur G. Granger across those buses. I don't understand. You had issues with that, right? Yes, that was bad. But you could put One Guyana, a PPP slogan, in our passport and on our money, and you're okay with that? What's the logic? Both of them are political slogans. APNU was wrong for doing that, but you doing it doesn't make it right. So what's the argument now? And this is what it is. What's the logic? Both of them are political slogans. APNU was wrong for doing that, but you doing it doesn't make it right. So what's the argument now? And this is what it is. What's the logic? Both of them are political slogans. APNU was wrong for doing that, but you doing it doesn't make it right. So what's the argument now? And this is what it is. What's the logic? Both of them are political slogans. APNU was wrong for doing that, but you doing it doesn't make it right. So what's the argument now? And this is what it is. What's the logic? Both of them are political slogans. APNU was wrong for doing that. The system is designed to keep you divided, designed to keep you dependent, designed to keep you poor. That's why the taxes are the way they are. That's why NIS is a mess. Okay? That's why public salaries are so low. It's understandable. And you have to realize that they have to keep you down in order to control you. It's that simple. All right? Now, let me move on to our next topic. Go ahead, Robbie. Let's see how fast we can get through this. This is the worst situation. I despise talking about this, but I will never stop talking about it. This here is an update from just a day ago. Parents of 11 Madia school dorm fire victims file multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against state. All right? Billion with a B. Now, we the people of Guyana have not done enough to help. We have let down the families of the victims of the Madia fire, of that tragedy. We have not given them enough support. We have let down the families of the victims of the Mahdi fire, of that tragedy. We have not given them enough support. We have let down the families of the victims of the Mahdi fire, of that tragedy. We have not given them enough support. We have let down the families of the victims of the Mahdi fire, of that tragedy. We have not given them enough support. We have let down the families of the victims of the Mahdi fire, of that tragedy. We have not given them and focusing on earning a living and making a life. You know why I do this outside of that? Because I have to do that as well. But you know why I do this? Because I can't live with myself when the tables turn and it's my child that's a victim and I have done nothing to try and help. You sit down there watching me right now, sitting saying, well, I can't do anything about that. You know, you see what you say there in your mind? That's not my business, that's not my problem, or I can't do nothing to help. All I'm doing here is sitting on a screen, all right, a couple times a month, and just saying we need to do better, trying to send a message out. At bare minimum, I'm trying, okay, to at least raise awareness, okay. The fact of the matter is, so many children are dying on the roads in car accidents. So many criminals out there molesting children. So many situations that our children are suffering in. But you don't care about it because it's not your child. Well, I'm just saying it's not your child right now. Okay? And when the time comes, okay? Not when, my apologies, because I would never hope anybody wish that on anyone. If the time, and I pray it never does, if that time comes, I really hope you understand that you sat and you've done. I really hope you understand that you sat and you've done. I really hope you understand that you sat and you've done. I really hope you understand that you sat and you've done. 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 You sat and you've done. You win. And then deal with the victimization. You guys know that's what the system is, right? You see, once again, you're not a victim of it yet, but yet you feel, oh, I don't need to worry about that. No, it's something that should be bothering you all the time. Okay? Because that's how we protect our families, once again. All right? Robbie, we're going to go on to Maria. I can talk about this all day. You can bring up the next one. Okay. On a little bit more of a positive note, just so everybody knows. Okay? Let me just reset my mindset. Rubio was in Guyana lately, and Rubio had his press conference. A lot came out of that press conference, funny enough. But I think it was more important is after, but we'll get to that in a sec. Rubio made some really strong statements about the Venezuela situation, which is our big situation at hand at the moment. Rubio made it clear that America is willing and ready to defend Guyana. And that's fantastic. All right, I think that's important for the world to know. I think that's important for us. I know that it's caused, I'm not going to get into those details, but I know it's caused a little bit of tension with other countries' relationships and Guyana. But at this point in time, at bare minimum, Venezuela needs to know that somebody more powerful than them is supporting us and will help defend us. That's important stuff. So, 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 help defend us. That's important stuff. Help defend us. That's important stuff. 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 That all the aspects of ensuring that our lives are better and safer are included in the progress. So this is where our issues come in. Yes, it's a road that was built. I hear your argument. There was a road that was built. I appreciate it. I appreciate that we have oil money now and they built a road. I appreciate it. Is that a step in the right direction? Yes. Was the road built in a horrible way that it was going to need to be fixed again soon? Yes, that's a bad thing. Was the road given through corrupt contracts to friends and family? Yes, that's a bad thing. Will we have to spend more taxpayers' money again soon to fix these roads? Yes, that's a bad thing. So, one good thing and many bad things. You can use your logic here. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be transparency. The people need to get what our taxpayers are paying for, what our taxpaying dollars are paying for. That road is not just about a road being built. We need quality work. We need to make sure our lives are getting better. I need to make sure every time I drive on that road, I don't have to go and fix my suspension, or you know, worry about a cow running across the road and killing me. This sounds weird, right? But how do you stop that? You have to figure it out. That's your job. All right? I don't care if you have to put a patrol on that road every. It's your job. All right? I don't care if you have to put a patrol on that road every. It's your job. All right? I don't care if you have to put a patrol on that road every. Your job. All right? I don't care if you have to put a patrol on that road every. Your job. All right? 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 And I know I'm preaching to a small group of people here, but we, the small group, we have the power, okay? Because that middle ground of votes, those swing voters, which we all are, okay, because we think independently, we're the ones that hold the power. We need to put our heads together and understand that system is not working anymore. Right? It's why I preach third party politics. It's why I would love a minority government in parliament. It will create accountability for whoever's in power. It will give the opposition, the strong opposition that people keep preaching we need. It will give them some sort of leverage to make sure that there's accountability, all right? That there's transparency, all right? That there are repercussions to shortcomings and failings. If they can't do the job, they need to be fired. If they're incapable, they need to be replaced, okay? That is what it is. They've taken the job as government of this country, whoever, and they have a responsibility to the people. We need a minority government in this country in order to create that system of accountability and holding them accountable when they are in power. All right, that's what we're preaching third party politics for. All right, guys, on that note, thank you for joining me. We will be back here next Friday. I again apologize for the long delay back. I apologize for me being here like this. I'm just happy to be back, and hopefully we can continue this conversation next week. All right, guys, take care. Have a good weekend.